Hello bakers and welcome to Upside Down. As you can see, we are now not anymore in the basement. Also, we are going to create this beautiful landscape using World Creator and after that import it inside Unreal 4. I'll show you how to use World Creator to create a massive open world map and after that rig it inside Unreal 4 using the world composition. Now, let's start! So first time opening World Creator, you're going to see exactly the same scene. This is the default one, and we are going to use a couple of features that are going to help us build the terrain that we want for our potential game level. I've made a quick square map in Photoshop just to illustrate a little bit what exactly I want to do. Here you can see that the regions that are the darkest ones are going to be the ones which have the highest elevation, and of course the ones that are brighter, they're going to be a bit lower. And my idea was to have kind of like this region in the middle split in two, which is going to be more of a city. Then we have the blue marking, which is going to be a river, and here also a river with maybe a little bit of a waterfall. And then we have the one which is with the brown, that is going to be actually a path where the characters can walk, like this is like the main path, but of course, since the whole world is going to be kind of like an open space, they can move to the other zones as well. So I'll show you how we can import this inside World Creator and use it as a guidance. And of course, if we have some other concept or something like this in our workflow, like from our art directors or from the team that we are working, we can always use those just to have like guidance. But first, since this video is sponsored by World Creator, let me tell you a few words about them. You guys mentioned in one of my previous videos about open world maps inside Unreal, the theme about World Creator. And after that I wanted really to go and try it because I never actually tried it before. So I had a friend of mine that actually used it before and I quickly talked a little bit with him how exactly he's working and is he's happy with the software. After a day or two of playing a little bit with the software and testing some of the functionalities, I decided to reach out to the developers and just giving a little bit of feedback from me to the developers and saying that I really like their software and if they're interested in sponsoring our community. And not only that they've been very helpful, I also joined their Discord community where you can get a lot of awesome feedback and they have an amazing support over there. But also they were generous enough to provide us with 3 licenses, which I'm going to be giving away. And the only thing that you need to do in order to join the giveaway is to be subscribed to my channel and as well leave a comment down below on this video. If you want to learn a little bit more about the software, please go down on their webpage. You can find the link down in the description below. And as well there they have an amazing tutorial series for beginners. It's very easy to start and very easy to learn the software. Also, at the moment, I want to tell you that guys are working really hard of bringing to everyone World Creator 3, which I'm sure that's going to have tons of amazing features. And as well, if you join their Discord community, you will be able also to follow up because soon for World Creator 3 is going to come up an alpha test. Now let's jump back to the video and show you some of those amazing features and after that bring everything back inside Unreal 4. So first thing that I'll be doing is to check the size of my terrain and as well also check the level of details. These are things that we can see here in terrain size. All these metrics are in meters. So actually for me, the default values work perfectly, 248 by 248 meters. And also here in precision, you can see what exactly is our density of the details. So this thing 1 meter means that each pixel it's going to represent 1 meter. If we click on it, we can of course choose different resolutions, which is going to affect the end result and the details of our terrain. I'm going also to leave it into 1 meter as this is something which I think is going to be just fine for us for this demonstration. Now we can already go and start making some changes. First, we are going to make it flat. I'm going to go into custom base shape, then edit shape. And from here you can see that we have these diamonds, which actually if I click and move up and down, we can already affect the terrain. But what I'm gonna be doing is I will flatten the entire terrain. We are clicking yes. And also I'm going to scroll down because I want to have a little bit more control on the terrain and have a little bit more detail that I can be adding here and there. So I will scroll down in the menu and here on the first level of strength steps, I'm just going to lower them all the way down and let's flatten the terrain again. And now you can see that by lowering those 2 steps, we have a lot more level of control. If you want to learn a little bit more exactly what I did here, this is one of the tutorials that you can find on World Creator's webpage. So please go and check it out if you're interested to learn a little bit more exactly what the steps and more in depth of the menus. Now that we have the terrain flattened and also we have enough control points, I'm just going to go and load our image as a texture on top, which is going to act as a guide for us to help us manipulate all the terrain and also to have just a little bit of better understanding what exactly we want to do. So I'm going to go to texture, then we are adding new layer, and here in the texture menu I'm going to click add. Now we are going to create a new World Creator asset, which you can see it's kind of creating a template for a material setup. So here we can put our diffuse, normal, and also displace maps. But in this case, we need just the diffuse, so it's going to be our guide. So I'm going to double click on the diffuse. This will open us our settings to import a texture inside. And after that, we are clicking on add. You can see that it became a little bit darker gray, but still the texture is not displayed. It's not that it's not being displayed. It's more that the texture at the moment you can see it's very, very small. So I need to set it up to be exactly the same size as our terrain. This can be done if I go back in the menu. And after that, here we have tile size. Since we know the exact size of the terrain, I'm going to type this right here. So 248. And now you can see that everything is being stretched all the way to the edges of our box. Now it's time again to go to surface and edit shape. So here we have the opportunity to either select a single of those control points, or we can also select multiple of them. We can control the radius from the slider over here. And also we have a couple of different actions that we can perform with them. So we can move them either up and down. This one is going to do average in between all the dots that we have selected. This one is going to flatten. And the last one is noise, which is very useful if we want to add a little bit of a noise and randomness into our terrain. We're going to use the move up and down and the average tools. I found those two to be very easy to build up the base for your terrain. We are going to speed up the video in this section, and after that, once I start using other features, I will go back to normal speed and explain a little bit more in depth. Once we get to a result that we are already happy with, we can start going inside and just tweaking a little bit some details. You can see that I didn't have enough resolution from some places, so I'm going to go, instead of those control points, I'm going to go with a brush and just smooth out all the places that I really want to have like more tiny space and also like flat out areas. So the way to use brushes on the terrain is to go to areas, and I'm going to create new area. And now you can see that it kind of just created it into the center of our terrain. But I want to use this into the whole terrain. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use for the width and length exactly the same measurements that we have for the terrain itself. So again, 248 by 248. And you can see that now it will affect the whole terrain. And another thing that we want to do is, at the moment we are using just a blend map, and you can see this here on the bottom that we have just added blend map, but we actually want to edit also the height map. So we need to click this one, and you will see that we'll have additional tab over here named Edit Height Map. So now we will be able to also edit the height map, not just the blend. Also, I would like to hide this orangish overlay just so that it will be a little bit clearer for me to see what exactly I'm doing. This can be done by Show Blend Map. So I'm just going to remove the tick here, and you can see that now we see everything exactly the same. But also you might notice that actually our terrain changed how it looks. This is because at the moment the height map is actually having an effect, but it doesn't have the effect that we want. First thing that we are going to do, I'm going to change the border blend range. So I'm going to make it that there is no any gradient. You can see that when it was on 0.5, there was like this small region in the center that was being affected, and the rest is like a gradient in between. So in order to have everything the same strength and the same effect of our height map changes that we're gonna do, we need to move this slider all the way to 1. Now everything becomes flat. This is because our height map is set by default. Instead of having it on default on operation, we actually want to add the effect on top of the effect of the vertices that we already did. By clicking here, we can choose from the top-down addition, and now you can see that we are left with exactly the same map as a little bit earlier. Now we can go to Edit Height Map, and scrolling down, you can see already all the functions that we are going to have available for us. We can again raise the terrain or lower it, as well we can flatten, smooth it out, and also flatten average. Another very awesome feature is that we actually can use different brushes. There's already some brushes which are built in, but also you can import your own brushes, which for me is an amazing thing because I already created a couple of brushes that I was using for Unreal. Now let's start going a little bit into the terrain and editing some fine details here and there. I'm going to again speed up the video, and the actions that I'm going to be doing is pretty much changing the brushes, also changing the size of the brush, and as well the strength of the brush. Now that we finished shaping up our terrain into the guidance that kinda I wanted, I made a few changes here and there just because it made a little bit more sense once I started already painting the terrain. We are ready to get into the fun part, and this is actually adding some layers on top of it, and you can see how many different effects, and there's tons of different functionalities, and everything is very easy. And I spent hours playing just with some of the settings because just the effects that you can get so fast and so easy, it was for me mind-blowing. So now we are going to go back to surface, and this time I'm going to filters. And as you can see, my terrain is kind of like a canyon. So I wanted to make this kind of like a plateau feeling, so everything is a little bit more terraced. And here on the effects, we are just clicking on add. And after that, we actually have directly a plateau. You can go through all the different effects. Each of the different effects, you have actually those sub-filters, and each of those is coming with its own settings underneath here. And of course, we can after that blend them and say how much exactly we want to blend them. So now I'm going just for plateau. And we have a rocky one and also we have a clean one. I'm going to go to the rocky one. Now my idea behind it, it's starting to make a little bit more sense. I can lower down the strength here and you can see that it's like a lot more noise. But once we are putting back the strength all the way up, you can see that it's starting to form these nice areas where I exactly wanted to place a little bit parts of like our village, city, and also of our other gameplay elements around. We are probably going to go back and a little bit define some of those at the very end. But for now, we will start just playing a little bit with the effects. When we are finished with setting up our effect, we just need to click add. And then we can go back. So now I can add another layer to build on top of this one. So we are just going to go and add layer. And this time from the effects, I'm going to go to terrace. And I'm going to also use terrace. Just now you can already start seeing how we really starting to get this kind of terrace feeling from all of our levels. And yeah, here and there you can see that we are going to fix and just adjust a little bit some of the places like here and so on and so on. But overall, we already are starting to get a little bit better feeling and understanding of what exactly is the soul and what exactly we want our terrain to look like. I'm also going to turn off the texture because we don't really need it anymore for guidance. So we're going to texture, and after that, I'm just going to uncheck this. At any time, we can easily come back and turn it on if we want, but you can see that it's very, very easy to just come here, uncheck it, and now we can see a little bit better exactly the details and everything that's happening on our terrain. So at this point, I'm going to start adding a few more layers here and there just of different erosions, and also I'm going to go and start fixing some details and some other pieces here and there. Now, as we are done editing our terrain, it's time to get everything inside Unreal. What I want to do is to use the same workflow and split everything into different zones. World Creator actually allows you to export the terrain either as like one full terrain, or also you can split it into multiple pieces. You can send it into different game engines, and not only in game engines, but into different softwares. But today we are going to use it for Unreal 4. So what I'm going to do is go to export. Here from the exports, we are going to set the game engine into Unreal. And for Unreal, we actually need to flip Y. And after that, we also need to hit the split. Here we can set up how big we want our tiles to be. I'm going to make them 256. And once everything is being set, we are just going to hit export and select the place where we exactly want to export everything. And now let's open Unreal and see how to import everything that we did so far. I'm having just the default scene inside Unreal, and I'm going to delete the box over here as we don't need it. Next thing that we need to do is to save our level. So here I'm going to File and Save Current, and I'm going to name it Level Tutorial. Now we are going to World Settings, and from there we are enabling our world composition. Now we can go to Window, Levels, and click on the drop down that says Levels, and after that import tiled landscape. Here we need to click Select Height Map Tiles, and once we are in the folder where we exported everything, I'm just going to click Ctrl A so that we select everything, click Open, and here on the bottom we can see Unreal tells us that there are 64 tiles, all of them 256 by 256. or this makes our terrain roughly 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. We are clicking import, and now that we have everything in the list, I just need to load it. So I'm going to select all of the sub-levels that we have, right click and load. And now we have already our terrain that we just created already inside Unreal. You saw how quickly and easy we created everything, and also how much control, and as well how easy we can add layers on top of each other. And as well, for me, there is one very nice benefit that every time we're adding new layer, we can always go back and change some of the settings into the previous layers. So this whole way of working makes it like very indestructible, and we can always go back and tune down some of the layers or duplicate them and see different results and different changes. Subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below so that you can participate into the giveaway. We are going to give 3 World Creator softwares, and of course, big thanks to World Creator for making this video and everything possible. I'm also going to create 3 additional videos with different types of terrains, just so that I can show you how we can create different environments. Thank you for joining me today. Go and check World Creator's webpage, and see you next time.